Good morning. Happy Sunday. Sunday is my favorite day of the week. It always has been, and I look at it as being a day of internal rejuvenation and external rejuvenation to get ready for the upcoming week. I am here in Lake Arrowhead in California at a beautiful spa resort. I don't know if you've ever been this way or if you're thinking about taking a trip. I highly recommend. The spa is so wonderful. I took a yoga class yesterday for the first time in like 9 years, and um, it was great. I'm sore today, but in the best way. And so, I've been taking some time just relax and start taking more care of my body. I woke up this morning. I still have bed hair, and I'm having my coffee with my cannabis oil in it to start the day. And I've been thinking a lot about meditation and just taking care of myself more on a physical level. I have been activated and have dove so deeply into the mental constructs of the brain and the human psyche that sometimes we can forget to take care of our physical body too, which, as we know, plays a huge role in the way our mental processes flow. And so the other day, someone messaged me, or they commented, and they asked me about meditation. And their question is that during meditation, they just have lots of tears, lots of crying happening. And I asked them if the tears were from their own thought processes or if it was a physical reaction to purging energy. And she said that she didn't really know, that she was new to meditation. And so I explained to her, and I decided to make a video to talk with you about it. Meditation, we see that the social construct or the idea of it is to sit in a meditative state and let the mind wander and go and come in and come back. But we don't really have to position ourselves in a way. It doesn't have to be a staged event, I should say. Meditation is, it's the humanistic ability to return to the meditative state of mind, where we detach from our human self to get quiet and listen. One of her things that she said is that during meditation, she has all these thoughts coming in and coming in, even though she's trying to push them all away. And what I told her is that in meditation, that is where we shut off and listen. And if there are thoughts that are coming in and that are flooding in that you can't push away, then don't push them away anymore. Those thoughts are arising in that quiet state so that we can process what they mean, what they feel, how to purge. And it's a shift. To me, perfection comes from being able to grab a frequency when it feels out of line and to be able to put it back in motion, because humans, we are in this plane to experience life, and we experience life through the energy transmissions from the sun and the moon. And so when we step outside of our humanistic thought process of the way we thought our existence was, and we tune in to the moon signs in which we are receiving the energetic transmission and how we feel in those signs, then we can choose how to shift our energy in that, because energy, ascension, activations, upgrading is happening to us. So instead of trying to control our thought processes in that spectrum of swirl, we just have to ground our energy, bring it back full circle. And so whenever we pay attention to our thought processes, we listen to the thought processes, we can then grab them and shift them and turn them around and raise the frequency. We can choose the energy that we receive in return. And so in meditation, wherever you choose to do that, whether it's on the city bus, whether it's driving in the country, whether it's taking a walk or on the elliptical at the gym, or whatever it is that you're doing, meditation is taking place all the time. Stillness is our natural state. And the things that come swirling in, that is for the humanistic to choose what to do with it. So I imagine myself as just being a being that's like standing in this amazing swirl of energy with all of these outside influences of, entity travelers, of moon transmissions, of sun photons, of our own energetic vibration based on how we eat, sleep, drink, work out, or whatever. All of those things play a huge role. And so if you have thoughts that keep coming into your mind, even when you're not sitting set like this, because you are always in your meditative state of mind, remember that. So it just takes us choosing how to align the vibration of the feels that we receive and how and what thoughts we choose to attach to them. Because, our thought processes. Okay, so look at it this way. Like, if you know who you are, you know your normal rhythm of movement in your brain and your actions and with other people, and you got this cool rhythm going on to who you are. But then all of a sudden, these thoughts come in that don't feel like yours, or all of a sudden you start feeling, weird or grumpy or whatever the situation may be. If that's not your normal flow of life, then you don't have to attach to that. Because there are passerbyers and travelers that leave little messages along the way, not intentionally, but we have a channel and we are receiving and sending information all the time. And not only that, but the people around you, like telepathy is a real thing. I don't know if you've experienced it, but when I am connected with someone over a very short amount of time, I instantly see how quickly I send and receive thoughts with that person. It's unreal. And so that tells me if I'm able to send and receive thoughts of someone else that quickly, think about all of the people that are around that I'm not connected with on a daily basis. And I'm picking up little hints of the things that are going on in their mind, whether it's their thoughts or not. Because, we are not our thoughts, Cody. We are listeners of the thoughts. The humanistic thinker is the outer worldly part of our personality. It's our creative, problem-solving, aspects of the humanistic characteristics of who we are as a being. We're so divine, yet so simple. And really, if we just think about ourselves in the form of energy, it gets a lot easier to maintain a normal flow of thought, because really it's all about the attachment of. Life is not something that we have to attach to any time. It's just, life is not heavy, even when it feels like it is, because it's all temporary. It's all temporary thought processes. It's all temporary feelings from thought processes and temporary feelings from energy. And so if we recognize that, the humanistic things that people say to us and our actions to them and their actions to us, it's all part of this like ecosystem of this spectrum of reality that we're living in. So, we as humans, we're waking up to realize that we can make it whatever we want it to be. It doesn't have to be the way that we've always thought. And the other thing too that is really important also, and I posted a meme about it the other day and it really struck me and it was so perfect, is that just because we go through something in life and we're not in that spectrum anymore, if we don't agree with it, even though we've done those things, it doesn't make us a hypocrite to not be into those things anymore. It doesn't make us we get into this swirl humans do of like feeling bad for the things we don't want, feeling bad for the things we want. It's just really, if you think about it, if you step outside of the box of the human mind, it's really just all insanity. We just have to pick the level of insanity we want to live in. And, I feel like I'm pretty sane, but I'm pretty out there too in my mental constructs. And I don't, and I allow myself that freedom to feel however I'm feeling in the moment without pushing it away unless I want to. We don't have to feel anything we don't want to for more than a second or two, because we are the receivers. We are going to feel things. We're going to, channel things that come in. But we don't realize as humans is that we thought this whole time it was all us. that all of that stuff swirling in and around was all our thoughts and our feelings and all of that. And it really is not. Like, what's going on the outside of the human vessel, and most importantly on the inside of the human vessel, not attached to the human thought processes, is creation. It's God, it's the channel, it's the existence of who we are as individuals. And so if we surrender, or whatever word we want to use, if we want to surrender the unknown thought processes, or surrender to the unknown thought processes, life gets a lot easier. Kara said, what is sanity? Society defines it. We have lived in so many different societies. Yeah, it's true. I mean, if you really think about it, this spectrum of reality to live in is really crazy. I mean, we've got decades and decades of programmed ways, thoughts, feelings, and, we get into this spectrum of telling each other what each other needs to do without doing it ourselves. And so if we get into our own meditative state of mind and choose how we want to react within ourselves and to other people, then that changes the rotation of energy. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. It's really that simple. I see so many people struggling with these, mental constraints of this human aspect of living. And believe me, when I say I see other humans, I mean I look in the mirror myself. Just because I've reached this wonderful place of vision within, humans in my mind, it doesn't mean I know everything, and it certainly doesn't mean that I'm perfect. However, I feel like my flow is quite perfect for me, and that it means it's full of flaws and love and whatever. I mean, I don't look at myself as being flawed anymore, even though some people may say I am, and sometimes I think I am, but I'm not, because my flaws, my greatness, when I'm on my knees crying, when I'm soaring so high, I feel like my astral self is going to soar out of my body. I stand on the outside feeling those things, but I don't attach immediately. I allow myself to feel the energetic pulls of when to attach and how to attach. It's so easy. We're like, if you think about it, until we realize it, us humans, we're like energetic kids in a candy shop. We just want it all subconsciously, but it doesn't work that way. We really don't want it all in the end. It's so much simpler to just let go of all of the thoughts that we've had, everything that we felt like we needed for ourselves, and get down to the nitty gritty, to what fuels the engine of the internal soul, what charges the human vessel to send that energy, to send that vibration out. I mean, really, we can get to a deep level with ourselves where we can keep it really light. I mean, for me, I tend to, and I think for most people, even though we have to practice it, is when we step away from the things that swirl in our minds, that's when we bring in the answer. For me, if something is just swirling and swirling around, I just push it out of the way, and I'm like, ugh, just come back later. And it will. We don't have to dive in and get ourselves all muddy all the time. It doesn't have to be that way. So meditation is what you make of it. Meditation is what brings you to the center of your soul, not someone else's. It's not what someone else's does, I mean, for me, taking a long road trip is meditation, or especially being in the shower, the water, the conductivity on the body, it really generates the manifestation, the vision, the channeling process. So, there's all sorts of things that I do. In the morning, my favorite thing to do is have coffee with my cannabis oil, and I put my earbuds in, and that's my morning meditation. I don't have set rules for myself other than to be gentle and take it easy. That's it. And that's just the laws of, really, I don't have rules. I practice the laws of nature, which is energy. When we learn the laws of energy, we understand the laws of the mind. There's power in energy when we realize that we can, just with a little bit of focus, just a little bit of focus, we can set great intentions. And some matters take more practice. Some matters take more mind discipline. If you're not happy in your life, then you get to choose how to change it. And it all starts with thought processes. If you don't feel good, change the way you're thinking. That's what I do. And sometimes it takes longer than others. It just depends on the situation. I don't like to be in a physical situation around people and things that don't fit my flow. And I certainly take that same advice within my own thought processes, because if I'm not in line with the way I think and feel, how can I be that way with other people? It's kind of this yin and yang, but it's like what with other people, we learn experiences and how to like embody ourselves. The greatest thing that I have done for myself, and still do, is I allow myself to be in between the thought and the reaction. That is where meditation is. It's like this stillness. Like whenever I'm talking with someone or before I respond, a lot of the times I'll pause for a little bit and let my energy, like it'll automatically just like sweep. And then I'll come back around and then engage. I mean, especially if someone has triggered me in a way that doesn't feel good, that's when it's even more important. Like sometimes, I'll get triggered and it'll hit me so hard, I'll shake. And then when I'm in this shaking process, I recognize that my thought flow is not flowing according to my normal self. It's flowing according to the energetic trigger that I just received. And then we know how that is. It becomes this perpetuated behavior of engaging in the trigger. And then the trigger starts to, really we have to ask ourselves, like, what battle are we fighting? When we are constantly triggered and engaged with other people. And even in ourselves, I trigger myself too. I even get outside of myself to go, wow. I laugh at everything and I cry sometimes and I don't take things seriously, although I'm very in tune with the vision and the feels of things. So it's like I have this like laxy-daisy, feel about society and people and things, but I take everything to heart, but only for a second. It's like the wind that comes through the mind of thought processes, the same thing goes through the heart. Just not holding on to the attachment of the feelings of things, like all the outer world stuff that's on TV and all the things that are happening around the world. Like, yeah, I know it's all there. It's regeneration. It's the natural process of what's been going on, and things are changing. And I just don't get all bent out of shape on the humanistic behaviors and the natural things that happen, the natural, weather things that happen here in this spectrum, because I know that it's the natural cycle of humanity. And, death is something that I don't fear. And when I do, I remember that I don't fear it. And so, it takes away the attachment of not living life, and then it creates a space to be able to live life. If we're so focused on, fighting the outside world and it's not fair and she does this and he does that, and like we're not looking at this spectrum to be able to take what we want from it to create differently. And so, I've been accused of not caring or not putting my attention on the things that are happening on the outside world. And it's because I see it differently. I don't see it from a humanistic standpoint anymore like I did before. And so, and it's given me a lot of peace. So I'm very thankful for that. Anyway, so meditation, it's anywhere and everywhere, because it is who you are. It is a flow of vibration that feels good to the humanistic experience. That's what meditation is. And part of that is that it doesn't feel good. It's all part of the cycle. Like, bad is not separate from good. It's just a different degree of frequency and how we view it. And so, what's bad to one may not be bad to another, no matter how bad it is to a group of people. I don't know. It's just a different flow, I guess, a different spectrum of attachment. And the other thing is that I can't talk about enough is word magic. The things that are thought and then spoke, it sets a different vibration on an energetic level. In this life, if we are tired and hurting physically and mentally, and maybe life feels like it's dumped on you, or and I know I've gone through these spectrums quite often in my life. Sitting around talking about how, oh, this sucks, or I'm hurting, but then there's nothing being done about it. There's no changes in the flow or vibration other than continuing to speak the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. There's not going to be a change in flow. And so what I do, because I get caught up in the complaining stuff occasionally, and when I do, I'm like, whoa. I recognize that I'm in this spectrum of complaining, and then it's like, well, what am I going to do with it? Like, how am I going to change that thought process? And that's it. It just takes a little bit of action. The power of positive thinking, positive thinking is a statement that I think has been so overly used that humans have become desensitized to the meaning, the true majestic power, to what that means. When we think of a higher vibration, our brain matter, the brain tissue in the body literally changes vibration. Think about it. If you're not happy and you're sad all the time, you're probably not feeling good physically. You probably don't have a lot of energy. You're probably not sleeping enough. So think about all that. Think about how if you see someone outside of yourself that's in that spectrum all the time, but over in this box, you see someone that's happy. They wake up in the morning, they have, they're whistling and singing, and they're walking out of the door, and their day is going well. Well, it's probably because they have a higher thought process. And I'm telling you this because I'm speaking from experience. For me, if I set a daily mantra in my mind in the morning when I wake up, or set positive routines that enhances my frequency, that's going to last throughout a good portion of the day. And the awesome thing is if we start the day off on a high, when things come in that may be of a lower vibration that doesn't feel so good, we can raise that up really quick, because it's all just energy and thought processes anyway. And so I have changed my routines, and it's a practice behavior. It doesn't start overnight. Like, I had to force myself to get up in the morning, take a shower, have coffee, listen to music, and then that started my flow. And then it made me excited about getting up in the morning, because I subconsciously remember what that energy feels like from the day before. So it's like this subconscious mind programming thing that goes on. We're like computers. We are an AI program that is so easily programmed by our own actions and thought processes. I'm in a spectrum of not giving myself excuses. And when I do give myself excuses, I recognize it. So it's harder for me to take excuses from other people. It's like, yeah, I understand the human mind. I get emotions. I get the psyche. But at some point, we have to pull our pants up and decide to participate in our life versus complaining about it. It's okay to talk to people about the way that we feel and what's going on, but if there is no change in the rotation, then all we're doing is setting that same frequency for others to come down a level. Constant complaining, we all know what it is. We've all done it. We've all experienced it. And so, that's why generally I'm quiet most of the time because I kind of have two personalities, really woohoo, and then I have one that's quiet. And if I'm not feeling woohoo, then I get quiet. And it's not because I'm sad or mad or anything like that. Literally, I'm really sensitive to the moon and the cycles. So my energy changes on every 2.5 day basis generally. So, I'll tell you the same thing I tell myself almost on a daily basis is to take it easy. Like, take it easy. That's it. You can get mad and angry and happy, and all of those things is fine because it's part of our humanistic makeup of emotion. But when it comes to feeling those things, it's really, in my mind, I like to be mindful not to purge those onto other people, ground, get internal, handle my energetic business, so then I can engage with people, so that I don't project and that I can respond and communicate in a way that feels really great. I haven't made a video in a while, and I just felt like sharing about meditation. This upgrading process is a very interesting one. Yeah. I don't know if a lot of you are feeling the physical activations of the Ascension yet. I talk about it a lot and have been for 2 years now since it all got started with me. And, it's important to remember that energy is a real thing. And if we're doing energy work with other people to activate them or to do Reiki for healing or whatever it is, it's really important to teach energetic responsibility. If I do a healing session with someone on an energetic level of activation, or if I notice I'm activating Kundalini with someone without activating them in a intentful way, I always make sure that I explain to people that after an activation or a healing or whatever we want to call it, that not only physically do we feel a difference, but mentally as well. So I always explain to people that that after energy work, that not only will the person be accelerated, that myself also, because as a healer, and just like in any other way, what we project to other people, we get back. So when we open up a portal to do energy work with someone, we are activating ourselves. So it's important to explain to people that their mental constructs are going to change. A lot of purging is going to take place in their psyche, because when we activate, not only are we energetically activating someone on a cellular level, but that includes the psyche. And so someone shared that with me, and I have taken that to heart. It's important to be responsible with energy work and to explain that to people. I usually tell people that after 3 days after the work that we do together, it takes like a 3-day integration process, and then another 7 days to really start to see the flow. That is something that was channeled to me intuitively. That is not in any rule or method or anything like that. So that's just something what I share with people. I noticed that with the Scorpio full moon that just passed by, we reopened another level in the 5-5 gateway. Last year at this time with the Scorpio full moon, my moon is in Scorpio, so I seem to be a little pretty high. I seem to be pretty energetically aware and channeled. That is when 5-5 started swirling around me. I know a lot of you see me posting 5-5 code, and you will share your screenshots of 5-5 with me, like as a code. And so, and it's cool to see that it came back around again. Now, what happened with the 5-5 gateway last year? Oh, 11-11. Nice, Rick. Thank you for sharing. Last year with the 5-5 gateway, when it opened, things really took off on a cellular level for me. I was activated in my eye movement and my ear fluttering and all sorts of physical antenna energetic alignments. So I posted a little bit about it. So I know that a lot of you are accelerated in your upgrading as well as I have on a molecular, like the vessel. Our bodies are upgraded to be able to handle the energies in stages. Everything's in cycles. Everything has a time frame. Everything is divinely laid out. So we don't get everything all at one time. And my progression has been intense over the last 2 years. I realized that our bodies are really energetic antennas, and we pick up on vibrations of truth and falsehood. I receive a lot of antenna signals in my body the chakra system, which is the energetic system in the body. And when we get outside of the constructs of our humanistic thought processes, we then activate in those antennas. I mean, that's been my activated process. I was activated to get rid of the humanistic stuff so that I could come around full circle into the energetic stuff, for the body. And so, I receive ear fluttering. Right ear means yes, left ear means no. I sneeze, I get internal throat chakra activations, I get external throat chakra activations. On the outside of the throat chakra, it'll get really warm and tight feeling, and that is it, almost like someone hit a switch and it's like, it gets really warm. That is a sign of truth. Also, on the inside of my throat, there's two different flows I see. On the inside of the throat, I get, you know how like if you get a throat itch and you start you start coughing? Well, that's an activation. It feels like a little beaming, and that will trigger the inside of my throat. And if it's a really strong confirmation, I will cough and sneeze in a response to the throat activation. I also get heart palpitations as signs of confirmations, not too often, but I also receive crown activations. The crown obviously is the largest, most active antenna in the body other than the heart chakra. But the crown is very different. I'm not exactly sure, but I just know that it is an antenna. And I receive confirmations of truth by feeling like I literally feel the antenna signal go off in my brain. It just feels like a little beam or a little jolt of energy, but not in a way that it moves me or anything like that. But it's just a sign of confirmation. Whether I'm reading something, whether I'm talking to someone, whether I'm watching something, whether I'm thinking something or hearing something in my mind, all of these energetic channels go off. Also, my eyes started moving this time last year. And what I didn't realize is that the human eyes, if you look at the structure of the human head through inside of the skull and everything, the eyes have a nerve that is attached to the back of the eye into the midbrain. And the midbrain is where the pineal gland is located. So I have, I think it was actually like last March, my eyes activated and they move in all kinds of patterns. Now, not that you can see them when you're talking to me, but if you look close enough, or if you put your hands, up on my eyelids, you can certainly see and feel them moving, because it's coming from the back, from the brain, not from, eye movement of me looking around. So it's just a pull of the muscle, based on the movement that I'm experiencing in my brain. And it's because my pineal gland is highly stimulated. I've been activating my brain for 2 years in different methods after I was activated. So I have been assisting my ascension. So my eyes move in figure 8 patterns. They move at the same time with each other. If I am sending and receiving a download information, and then they will move in a circular pattern if I am sourcing energy, connecting to energy, opening a portal. But they also move in all kinds of ways. Yesterday, they were very vibrational up and down, and it's pretty incredible. I have the basic information of the antennas and the tools in the body so far. But I don't know all of the answers, but I know enough to guide myself and others, through this process. And I know some of you have told me that you have been experiencing the eye movements. You've been experiencing the ear fluttering. Now I have to tell you, in this activation process, different parts of the body activate at different times of the cycle. It doesn't all start at one time. Like I say, I have been in the activated process for 2 years of upgrading, hardcore on a physical, mental level. And so I've seen the progression of the signals and the things that have activated in my body through as time has passed by. So what I have experienced is that when a new ability gets activated, it's like, boom, we get the awareness, not sure what it is. And then it's like we get activated to see and feel it. And then we start picking up clues, confirmations of when these little signals in the body will go off, and then we're channeled little information about it. And so, yeah, you know, it's an interesting process to integrate within this, because in the last 2 years, I have had a total of about maybe 2 months off, I call it, where there was nothing happening in my body. Well, I say nothing, but so basically for the last 2 years, there's, you know, the movements, the signals, the energetic feelings have not stopped. My eye movement, you know, I've had to make peace and get past, and just like anything else, we get used to it, but my eye movement hasn't stopped in a year. And yeah, it's just very interesting. So, you know, there are periods that I go through of time where I feel like I just like, you know, want to be normal again, but that's just part of the process, because we have to condition ourselves to the conditioning. You know, we're not in control, even though we have a handle on the steering wheel. And this is certainly not something bad that is happening to me or harmful that's happening to me. Even channeling of the higher entities and avatar self, or whatever we want to call it. I mean, you know, I have had the door open to channel souls, you know. I mean, it's an interesting thing. So I always go by the feels, and, you know, I think that society has conditioned us to think that things that come through or travel, you know, are harmful, or that possession is a bad thing. And it's not across the board. So, and I am definitely someone who has experienced entity possession and not being a bad thing. So, you know, I like to share my experience with you guys, because I know that so many of you are experiencing things and you don't know what they are, or you're experiencing things and maybe you do, or you're not sure yet, or you do, and, you know, you're just floating around like me, you know, doing our thing. So I think it's important that when we share our own individual path versus trying to tell someone about their own, it allows the space for others to come together and attract that same frequency. Law of attraction is a real thing. So I'm so happy that I've attracted all of you, and it's this great, amazing process that we're going through. You know, it's dark night of the soul to come into the light, or, you know, whatever we want to call it. But it's really a shift between the two, because there is no separation. Just like hate and love, dark and light, hot and cold, is the same thing. Can't have one without the other. It's just a different vibration on the spectrum of creation. So anyway, I love you to the moon, family, and I see you all sharing your light and being raw and open, and every day I celebrate you. And you know, I may not engage a lot, or, you know, communicate on a level that I'd like to, or I feel those pulls sometimes, but I see you all, and you light my life up every day, and you make me feel normal and sane and not alone, and I appreciate you for that. Love you to the moon, family. Have a great Sunday.